We're just here to talk about it. Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Final hour, Will Cain will join us, the outgoing ESPN host. He'll join us in a minute, and the commissioner of the SEC in a few minutes as well.
Call Feinbaum now, 855-242-7285. That's 855-242-PAUL. This is the Paul Feinbaum Show.
At AutoZone, we've always been here to help you get what you need to go where you need. That hasn't changed. Needing some battery help? We've got you. Whether it's a free battery test or a free charge, we can help you get started again. And if it's time for a replacement, we've got a full selection of batteries starting at $79.99. That's why we're America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Based on data from the MPD Group Incorporated, Car Care Track, 12 months ending December 2019.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at StockTalk.com.
For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP. Coach Shinnick and the Argos continue to make their place in history. The Gulf South Conference named its Football All-Decade team for the 2010s, which featured 3 Argonauts and head coach Pete Shinnick being named Coach of the Decade. Marvin Conley was named to the first team, while Tate Latio and John Williamson were voted onto the second team. Shinnick has been the architect of one of the most inspiring startup programs in the history of college athletics, taking UWF to the NCAA Division II playoffs twice in 4 years of the program. In our recruiting spotlight this week, Jaheim Simmons for the West Florida Jags. Check his film and you will see all you need to know about this young man. At a shade under 200 pounds, Simmons runs like he's a fullback. This young man can punish you between the tackles, outrun you to the edge, and run by you in coverage. He truly is the complete package. Oh, you're looking for consistency? How about averaging over 5 yards a carry and 106 yards a game last year for the Jags? After he burst onto the scene, he already has an offer to UAB and interest from schools in the ACC. And don't worry, there'll be more to come, you can bet on that. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
More than 100 million wild animals are killed each year, illegally. Poaching is just one of the risks animals face at our hands. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor. I grew up in the beautiful rural countryside of Ohio, where animals roamed freely in the open forests. I have a deep concern to help preserve those open spaces for our wildlife friends so they can live and thrive like they used to. Destruction of their habitats threaten their very existence. The best way to protect wildlife is to protect the land where they live. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats, and establish permanent sanctuaries. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE. Or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Gathering at Pensacola Beach is a wonderful family experience. If you thought of having a family celebration or an amazing beach wedding, there's a very special home now available, Casa de Luna. Casa de Luna is spacious with room for large families. It has 9 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. Casa de Luna is a large private home with a refreshing pool and water views. The pool can be heated for swimming in colder months. Casa de Luna is unique in that the main living area is directly on sand level. It's very convenient. Bedrooms are both on the sand level and upstairs. One bathroom is handicap friendly and another has a new jacuzzi. And there's a large gaming porch with pool table, foosball, hockey, ping pong, and Xbox One. Bicycles are provided. Bring your family to Casa de Luna on Pensacola Beach.
For information, call Casa de Luna owner Tim at 791-6400. That's 791-6400. 791-6400.
Hear ye, hear
hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favour to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee... Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favourite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, we'll get to more on the July ahead, which looks like we should have sports, although a lot of people now are back to saying no. We'll talk some college football. We'll get into some news and notes locally as well, as the Pensacola Blue Wahoos always got something going on, even without games.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Ball's been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 for Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I am Chad Brillante in a you can judge what you want with this picnic table shirt today. It's not the finest, but it was a warm day today. And being out in the car looked like it was going to rain a couple times, and we maneuvered around. But overall, it's the kind of day where just when you think things are starting to come back, the more stories coming out, and we'll focus more on the positives today. We're going to get into some fun breaking down some of the Sports Drives 5. We'll get to our Drivey Awards, and we'll also take a look at would you play if you had the opportunity. I was watching a pretty sweet game of one of these hockey games played on what looked like a slip and slide. Pretty good. Now, it looked like a bunch of torn ACLs. Coach Stephanie Lawrence Yelton right there, the head coach of the UWF women's team, was like, yeah, I wouldn't let any of my players do that. Come back. 15 of them come back on crutches. But after a couple brewskis with the guys out in the yard, not right now, but if you're doing that, have some fun. Check out the video. It's on our Facebook page there. But overall, you're looking for something else to do. Everybody likes the games. I'm seeing these new inventions for beer pong or things that you could do with your friends that look like Quidditch. I thought that used a broom and you had to fly, so I thought that was out of the picture. But just things that you can get done. And there's actual sports that are listed. It's official, people. It's got documentation. But the president of sports, that's like a real thing out there. Man, what a title for picking up ladies back in the day. What do you do for a living? Don't worry about it. Let's just Just want to invite you out for steaks. No. Seriously, what are you getting into? You see all this stuff around here. You see those baseball teams and those hockey teams, and you see them titles and everything going on. It's all me, really. It's really all me. What do you mean it's all you? You play? I'm the president of all this. I own it. You don't own it, but sort of do. You want to go out tonight? Want to swipe right up? Overall, when it comes down to it, there are a lot of sports, and these, sadly, like ferret legging, where the idea is to put a ferret in your pants. This is also the blunt of a lot of jokes, but putting it in your pants for up to 7 to 72 hours, which was the winner. That sounds like a loser to me, this ravenous ferret in your legs, but it's an actual sport, and it's documented. So what sports would you challenge? Hopefully, if you say ferret legging, you're also the guy that runs every year in Pamplona in the running of the bulls, because I don't want anything to do with that unless there's $1 million cash on the line. JP always joining us on a kind note. How was your day been so far?
Yeah, it's been. I mean,
one of those days again.
Dodging, it takes a lot. It takes a lot more effort now to dodge all the negativity than it used to.
Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge, though?
Or if you can dodge a wrench, then I don't know why you let somebody throw a wrench at you in the first place. But, no, I think, look, you're hearing from certain people.
Why would you let somebody like Patches O'Houlihan tell you what to do in the first place, though, too?
I've had a coach like him before, sadly, growing up. But, no, look, I think it's interesting enough. And once again, all I will say to people is do your own homework. I'm not going to get into a lot of this, but Malcolm Jenkins, and I like Malcolm Jenkins as a player, heck of a player, coming over to New Orleans. And I know, look, I don't have a problem with him being a person that's a part of speaking out, an activist on CNN. That's his own deal. I'm not, once again, I could care less. That's his own personal life. But, coming out and saying coming out and saying that the NFL or sports in general pretty much is non-essential. So we need to just wait until everything is fixed and then come back. I laugh because he does not speak for everybody, because we're hearing all these other players. And like Ezekiel Elliott, what he said was kind of twisted. Ezekiel Elliott sent out a warning. Zeke just said, look, I'm feeling better. I'm good to go. But you know what? This thing is real. Like, he just basically said it's NFL can come back, but it's just got to be right. And then people say, well, see, he's warning you. He's warning you. No, he's just letting you know, like, hey, people, this is real. I had it. But I'm okay now. I'm good to go. And it is basically going to be tough to bring everything back. We're going to have a lot of rules we got to follow. When he says it's got to be right, meaning we got to follow these protocols. This is not going to be perfect. And I laugh because, Malcolm Jenkins comes out and says what he says, that football's non-essential and all this stuff. Like, bro, then you don't have to play. Like, these players don't have to play.
You're right.
Same thing in college. College players, you don't have to play. Anybody doesn't have to play. These guys playing the PGA Tour right now, they don't have to play. Phil Mickelson is 6 under right now, tied for 5th. He didn't have to come out there. He's older. But everybody has a decision. I want people to understand that. I mean, I know that you listening, if you're listening here, well, look, you may have common sense, you may not. I don't know why you would listen to us. We're the way our show goes sometimes. Who knows? But what I am saying is common sense kicks in at some point, and we have to understand the media makes it out like these leagues are just pure evil, but yet these players are allowed to speak and do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. And so we have to understand, well, wait a minute. If they can do that, then they have the option to say no. Simply said, you don't want to play? Don't play.
But that's not the agenda he's pushing. And we know that. And that's the difference is if you know what's in somebody's heart when they say it, that should mean something. It should definitely mean something. But you're exactly right. These things that are prolonged and they take forever in the news, nobody wants to be held accountable or have willpower. We've been essential from day one. I remember right now dealing with the traffic jams and people are out and doing happy hour right now and doing all that. And that's their freedom. Whether they have a mask or not, they have the freedom to choose. If you don't like it, there's one simple choice. You can go home. Now, if we had a bunch of people in here that looked like spring breakers, what's up, man? Just got one of these henna tattoos of a dragon here, man. And they're all hanging out and they're taking shots and we're trying to do a show here and they're coughing on us. Then I have the right to say, you know what, everybody get out of here. Get away from me, or I'm calling this. Probably, more than likely, unless it depends the shots. But overall, what we're saying here is if somebody is in your own personal space, violating whether you live, whether you work, or frankly, the essentials. If you're getting gas down the road and somebody's in your face dancing, You have the right at any time, pretty much, to let them have it. But we know at this point, if you're out tonight at a bar or if you're at the beach and then you get upset because people weren't social distancing themselves from you, that's on you, man. I mean, that's on you. Doesn't make it right that the guy was dancing up on you. Hey, what's happening, bro? None of that makes it right, but you chose to do that. Your kids choose to play Little League and you get sick out there hanging out with the parents and your kid might have a weakened immune system. You made that choice. Little League will continue. We have opportunities and choices to make. So you're exactly right. Malcolm John, that's great. What you're saying, if you fully believe that in your heart, then don't play. But you know if they came to him and said, that's great, you're not playing, everybody else is. They go, well, that's not really what I mean. I'm trying to speak for the masses that we don't need to play. No, sir, sorry, you don't own the NFL, and they'll tell you.
Well, the masses have their own voice as well.
Yeah, and the NFL has made it clear from day one. The NFL they don't get bossed around by anyone, if you haven't noticed. You should, because percentage-wise, they took a day from the church, which was all holy. Now, we live in the South where, I know in Santa Rosa County, there's more churches per capita than any other county, I believe, in America. Go through Alabama or Andalusia, and it's church, stop sign, church. I paid the consequences for that because I didn't see the stop sign behind the church, and I was looking for a Google map while I was trying to get to Montgomery. So, yes, that was the story I figured out. But overall, we understand, though, that most people know that the NFL is going to continue. And in the year more than ever, if you miss a couple Malcolm Jenkins, we're going to continue to watch. Heck, if you gave us the Canadian football roster, or for that matter, even Eastern Michigan versus Miami of Ohio's roster, but you put our favorite teams on them, sprinkled in a couple good QBs, we're watching right now. Heck, we're watching Korean baseball at night, so people are going to watch it this year. They're already not going to the games. Maybe. I don't think the NFL cares about that either, and they might do it. And guess what? If somebody gets sick, they have the right to go. Now, when I say this isn't like walk into a pit of lava and see if you get burned, because that would just be stupid. But just like every day, if I go to lunch or I go out to places are full. Places are full everywhere. And I've been out, and you and I, since day one, have been essential. Wearing masks when we leave here, doing things. But guess what? For 3.5 months, and I'm not going to get into some conspiracy like we had it or anything like that. I don't know. It felt like we did in January, badly. I could not breathe for a couple days. But no matter what, we have not got it. And we're around more people than pretty much anybody. So just use common sense. Be careful. People just need to understand, though, that when one person says we shouldn't play football, they might have other things in mind. And if he doesn't want to play, that's so great. Then don't play. Nobody is forcing you to play. If you don't want to play football, you don't. And honestly, I think the NFL and everybody is contracted. They've already said, every professional sports league has already said, if people don't want to, if like Saints fans, they issued a memo immediately. If you've got 2020 season tickets, but you don't want to head over to New Orleans, where it's a hotbed, where Mardi Gras, the cases went up real quick, and I wouldn't want to go to a game with my dad. If my dad was out here, he's 63, I'd be like, okay, you know what? My mom and dad, I'd be like, let's stay home and watch it, just in case. I'm not saying you are, but let's just be careful. I don't want to risk that. I don't want that on my conscience. I love you guys too much. I'd say the same thing. But at the same time, for those people in 2020 that don't want to go to the game, guess what? 2021, they still get season tickets. Now, that means a lot for people that are on that long waiting list for years to try to get on. And right now, the way the Saints are playing in Drew Brees' final year, that list gets pretty big. We just got to look at it and say, if you don't want to do something, then that's okay. But the people that make those decisions will make those decisions. So that's great. Malcolm, don't play. Lose your $10 million, whatever you want to do. And that's okay with everybody. But if you try to advocate that the whole league needs to shut down behind you, now you're just not getting it. And
well, it comes out.
I mean, you can believe that. You can believe that, but they're not going to change that because of him.
The problem that I have is all these people from all over. It's, when you're talking about sports and they're talking about shutting down, let other people talk. Why am I hearing from a handful of people instead of, if this is truly the way the league feels, why are they not talking about this as a whole? Why are not all these other players coming out and be like, nope, I'm with him. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not coming back. Look at the NBA. I mean, these guys are fixing to go down there, and what I don't understand with the NBA is they're fixing to go in a bubble, and yet they're talking about, well, they're fixing to go in a hotbed in Orlando, and oh my God, but they're in a bubble. They are literally bringing everything inside their bubble where they do not have to go out. They don't want them to go out, and if the players are smart, they won't go out if they're serious about playing. I'll make that clear. That goes with colleges and everything, but I'm so tired of hearing from everybody else. If everybody else feels that way, then why am I not hearing everybody else? That's my thing. That's like me speaking for you on every single matter, just because we work here at ESPN Pensacola. I'm like, well, Chad, I got this. I'm going to speak for everybody here.
Yeah.
And we don't agree on everything, and that's okay. But I'll speak out on something, and then you have a different view or whatever. You speak out. I'm not going, you're a grown man. These are all grown men. They can speak for themselves. I don't, like him talking about shutting the entire NFL down. Wow. Right, there
she's there.
Lily's here again.
She's pretty loud right there.
But I think, look, if that's truly the way people feel, and all these players came out and said, look, we just don't want to do this right now, I'd be like, okay, whatever. You guys are the one doing it. I want you to play, obviously, because I'm a fan, and I want live sports right now. But if these guys truly feel that way, that they don't want to take that risk, then I respect the heck out of them. Same thing if NBA or MLB or whatever. The MLB was aggravating just because solely of the fact these guys couldn't figure out money in a few games. That was the aggravating part, not the health risk. But I do find it funny that in the beginning it was about the health, and then it turned into nothing about the health. They could truly care less about it. So that's neither here nor there now. But I just that's my I want to make that clear. That's my aggravation. It's not anything personal towards anybody. I like Malcolm Jenkins as a player. I think he's a hell of a player, obviously, especially coming down to New Orleans, excited to see what was going to happen. You're just adding another piece there. But I don't want to hear him speak for everybody else until I hear everybody else. If everybody else is standing behind him and they're like, yeah, we don't need to play, okay. Then because guess what? It don't matter what I think. These guys are the ones putting their bodies on the line each and every play. So I'm cool with it either way. But please don't act like you're speaking for the entire league. Get out of here with that.
And I'm not going down any path. And like I said from day one, I hate having to talk about this because I'd rather be talking about them playing football. Now, they canceled the Hall of Fame game, and I think that's the right thing to do, frankly, in general almost. They should just send out a bunch of Hall of Famers to wave and then go home. It got canceled because of a Tim McGraw concert 2 years ago because it was a little bit dampened and the ground was a little bit too hard for a Tim McGraw concert. Like, you're the NFL. You can't say, okay, can you move the venue maybe outside of the stadium or at a different venue or not right on the grass in the play? But it's a Hall of Fame game. Nobody watches that for the third stringers. The Hall of Fame game is the second most irrelevant sporting event behind the Pro Bowl. And they're both things that you would think would be like huge. Pro Bowl, you get to watch your favorite players. Sure. The Hall of Fame game, first game, the NFL is back. But both of them aren't real football at all. And we've seen it 100 times. And
well, I will say this on the preseason. Go ahead and get used to probably having no preseason. But if we do, I know the report came out the NFL wants to have 2 preseason games, not for the football, but for the fact of getting these players ready to what they're going to go through on game day experiences at home and away. So we'll see what happens. Coach K talks about it, and he just doesn't believe it's going to happen just because it puts you at more risk. But I personally think preseason's gone too. I think they're going to go ahead and take their precaution and say, you know what, it's not worth it. Now that stinks because preseason is important for those young guys trying to make the team.
Yeah.
I mean, the vets could care less. The vets didn't want preseason for quite some time anyway. They're like, hey, take the preseason away and add one more game. We're cool with that. But I just, with the preseason, go ahead and get that wrapped around your mind that it's probably not going to happen either. But for different reasons, obviously.
Well, some of those guys, too, it could be good or bad. If you're one of those guys that you're going to be one of those like NFL hard knock guys that everybody falls in love with, but on day 3 you're going to get cut. If you're one of those kind of guys, you're like, okay, maybe I got a year to train a little more or figure it all out, really wow the coaches on like our Zoom meetings over the next year and get this done. But, for people like what's happening with Malcolm Jenkins is he is really not the right guy to speak on behalf of this right now. Not to say anybody can't have a voice.
No, you can have it.
He can have a voice. I mean, he can do what he wants to do. But when you say football. This is based on, everybody's got to block things and focus. When you're on a test and they gave you A, B, C, and D, but then they gave you A through A and D or A and C, remember those? And you're like, I used to be the worst at that because now my brain's thinking 800 different ways. You got to start to clear all that out and focus. And for a guy like Malcolm Jenkins, in this case, he's the kind of guy that he was out there in the city of New Orleans and many other cities with 10, 15, 20,000 people protesting. And once again, this has nothing to do with the protests. It's about numbers. If you're okay with with a bunch of people of all ages, actually, that are out there and protesting and what was happening, that was okay for 5 or 6 days to Malcolm Jenkins. This is just a Malcolm Jenkins story. But then right after that's done, you get back out and say, well, we can't play football because we can't get together in large groups. Is anyone defending that? Is anybody defending what he's saying? Besides, maybe in your heart you think one's stronger than the other. Well, when it comes to football, the football people are telling you this is our livelihood. Football is the biggest when it comes to moneymakers in this country. It's number one. It is the thing out of everything that people, even brothers, sisters, grandparents, fantasy football, everything that happens, people are enthralled with football. And it means a ton to a lot of people that have been waiting around patiently because it does change people. Sports is an intricate part of our culture. So people have said it's just a game. Yeah, me doing a pickup game with a couple guys today down at the park, that's not essential because it's not changing anybody, and probably I'm going to tear something because I'm not in great shape right now. But if it came down to football as the NFL or college football being played, you bet your sweet bottoms it's important. It's important to it's important to everybody listening to this station. It's important to everybody out there watching on TV because it's a sports show. But more importantly, it's important about bringing people together by doing it the correct way. And they think they can. We don't know if it's going to continue. We don't know if the NFL is going to start and then they're going to have to shut it down. I can't answer that. I can't answer whether we'll get a week into preseason and have to shut it all down. But I will tell you, the NFL is not going to listen to Malcolm Jenkins right now. They're not going to listen to anybody else. They're still going to play. And right now, they're going to start the season. The report came in today right after that came out. They came out about 10 seconds later and said, yep, everybody's still got to report to training camp coming up here on July 28th. Yeah, but you canceled the August 8th game. August doesn't matter. July 28th, we're going to begin, and everybody's going to be out there. That came from the executive VP right there, Jeff Pash. So they're ready to go, and they're going to go.
The thing is everybody talks about listening to the experts, and then so because one expert says it, and you want to follow him because he's saying what you believe, what you want to believe. Now we ignore all the other doctors within the NFL organization because they're with the NFL, so they're a part of that whole money grab. And look, I'm not going to say that's not true, but what I will say is people need to understand this too. Every league, every organization understands the risk it is taking right now by putting these players because God forbid somebody dies from this. And that's obviously worst case scenario. So people need to understand that is a risk. These guys know this. They're taking the precautions before this, so this doesn't happen. So it's not like the NFL's like, all right, everybody come on in a big pontoon boat. Let's go. Everybody stay together. All right, everybody stay tight. No, they're all having precautions. All these universities are having precautions. The only one that I look at that go, what in the hell are you doing, was the University of Houston when they bring their players in from all over the country and they don't test them, and then they go, well, we got 6 that tested positive. Yeah, idiots. What did you think was going to happen when, for one, you live in a hotbed, and 2, you didn't test your players and quarantine them when they got there to be safe? Like, duh. Yeah, you need to shut down your program because you have no clue what in the heck is going on right now. That's where I have a problem. But as for all these other leagues, if you don't think they're taking their own precautions and covering their own butt here to make sure they're doing this the best way possible, get out of here. And these, once again, I will end with this. The players have the opportunity and the right to not play. It's up to them. They can say what they want to. They can give me all this, well, we need to shut the league down. You don't have to play. You speak for yourself. Let's hear from everybody else. If all these players lined up and said, we're not playing, okay. But I don't give me one guy that is sitting here trying because he wants to believe he is to speak for everybody. I'm not buying it.
Well, there's a clear answer to why all those players for the Cougars they tested positive, right? Because they needed a sign.
There you go.
They needed some type of. They're Houston. They're used to having some type of sign, and there was
true.
no sign that they needed to get tested. It's pretty obvious. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV. I hope we still are going to decide to bean Jose Altuve. That's all I know.
Ever wonder how long it takes for litter to decompose? How about a paper towel or newspaper? 2 to 6 weeks. A cigarette butt? 1 to 5 years. That plastic bag? 10 to 20. A disposable diaper or plastic beverage bottle? A whopping 450 years. And for a glass bottle? 1,000,000 years. Let's stop litter madness. Join the team and let's drive it home. Keep our paradise litter-free.
Brought to you by Florida Department of Transportation and Keep Santa Rosa Beautiful.
Sylvan success story number 4,092.
In 5th grade, we started noticing some problems, and it really changed our world. Sylvan gives parents like me hope. She's done a complete 180, and she's getting all A's and B's on her own. There's no more fighting about homework. I know that it's going to get turned in, and I know that she's going to rock it.
Start your own Sylvan success story. Call 1-800-EDUCATE or visit sylvanlearning.com.
An auto policy from State Farm gets you collision coverage. And this radio ad from State Farm gets you coverage of this beloved 90s hit.
I hit a car. I hit a car. I hit a car. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. My agent's gonna help me.
For more coverage, visit statefarm.com.
I'm Mina Kimes, host of ESPN Daily. Each morning, we bring you a deep dive into a single story from one of ESPN's hundreds of reporters. It's the best of ESPN Daily. ESPN Daily is presented by Marathon. Now, more than ever, we have to look out for each other and count on each other. Marathon wants you to know that you can count on them for high-quality, top-tier gas. Wherever you need to go, the people at Marathon are behind you all the way. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Hey guys, I know there's a lot going on right now in the world, and we're all shopping online. I just saw that AT&T started doing 2 really helpful things for those who want to buy a new phone or device online. They're offering fast, free, no-contact delivery and curbside pickup, so that online shopping is as simple and safe as possible. On top of that, they have a flexible return policy, so you can shop at ease. You can visit att.com to learn how to shop online from the safety of your home 24/7. Subject to change, restrictions apply.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
In Pensacola, local and national sports live here. Catch the play-by-play of every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos and your national champion West Florida Argonauts football team. Your local high school football games during football season are here, along with the best local sports talk in the biz with Talk Football and the Sports Drive weekdays and Sports Call every Saturday. When it comes to sports radio, there's only one place: ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Working my money till I get gold. Won't live Friday morning. Working my money till I get gold. 'Cause I can't get no more. Working my money till I get gold. Won't live Friday morning. Working my money till I get gold. 'Cause I can't get no more.
Started out with nothing and I still got most of that. The world ain't giving me much. I'm positive, that's a fact. Everybody say me cool.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Chad Brillante, JP with you here. 850-623 1330 is the number, and you can weigh in if you want right now what the current state of what you feel the plans for college and the NFL. All this discussion is sort of one of those like keep it within book club because the NFL is going to make their own decisions. This is not a let's
not
hear
what we
and
think.
It does not, and they haven't budged from day one. Remember when people like we were talking about bringing in? I remember like it was yesterday because a couple of my friends are actually on it, but they were going to bring in the National Guard and other people in with tanks on the streets and be, and so, a lot of countries did that. Most countries have more of that. China and other places were tracking your cell phone. If you were outside your house, they'd come get you and arrest you. So thank God we live in America for that. But some people are like, that would be better for us. But overall, what we need to understand with everything going on in sports is the NFL has not budged from that day. Like back in April and May, they were like, get 1 million cameras to a bunch of houses and have Roger Goodell sit in his basement. That's what, and the draft went on. Boom. And I was glad it did. It was pretty cool to see all that. Guy won like an IKEA award. He had like a really cool mirror in the background with like a surfboard. His family all looked like they were on an Old Navy commercial. It's really cool stuff. But overall, when it comes down to everything with the players and talking about them playing, they're going to play.
The heck is going on?
It's a little conversation. They know, like walking by. Sometimes the window. Not everybody wants to be showcased. I could just punch it to this camera right here and wave, and they wouldn't even know right here. I could really fool them and go to this camera, and then at that point, now look at this. She doesn't even know coming through here. Look at that.
Got her.
Got
her. Didn't even know it.
I'll text Bridget later. That's Bridget K, by the way. She does an awesome job in the morning with News Radio and on Cat Country, and a friend of ours. So I'm gonna have to text her, go back and watch that later because she's gonna be like, "You kidding me?"
Did you hear the there's and I don't know all of them. I haven't looked it up yet. But on the Dan Patrick show, they're talking about some of the new rules the MLB is implementing now, and one of them is because you mentioned the Astros. Mm-hmm. And one of them is basically the MLB is fighting against that, obviously, the whole plunking thing and the brawls, because we know it would happen, obviously, especially probably from the very first game. But basically the MLB has said that if you do that, if there's a brawl, you might as well forget. Or if you're one of those instigators, hitting a guy where you get thrown out of the game, go ahead and get used to probably a 30-year season being gone. So they're trying to prevent, I guess, more like entire groups of teams coming together, even more so. So I guess we could just put it on pause. Like you can still hit the guy, but I don't know. I don't know what the heck's gonna happen.
Think about the little things too in baseball. We were both pitchers. My hands are sweaty as heck all the time. Like, if I didn't have a good rosin bag, there were days in the heat that I could not grip onto the baseball. Like I had one of those towels. I was the only pitcher in the history that looked like one of those quarterbacks in the cold that had a little patch. Like I had a towel out there underneath my side. I'm not joking. This you can laugh all you want. Look at this. If we zoom in on here, nobody wants to see this. But at all times, you see that fingerprint? Like, listen, my hands are always. It's a curse of mine. Leighton's got it, and I feel bad for her. Sometimes she's like, "Daddy, I'm really sweaty." I'm like, "Just got to deal with it. We're sweaty Italians." But overall, what we need to understand with baseball is that if I didn't have that rosin bag out there, it was important. But if you're pitching right after me, and we got that rosin bag going on, that's a lot of touching the same bag, and then you go to your make some. And what about umpire? What about all the signals coming in from the? This sounds
the wristband.
David Seeds, big bags of David Seeds and Big League Chew. That's
another one.
Yeah,
no seeds, no seeds or anything.
Oh well, we might as well cancel baseball this year. I was gonna say.
That's real. They said no seeds because they don't want spitting.
We should make Greg Litton call in right now and tell him that. You cancel sunflower seeds from baseball. How are they going to? Are they going to have? You could see one of those security guards in yellow or something that's going to run on the field like they make the bat boy. Like that 70-year-old bat boy, that sweet man out there in San Francisco. No bat boys?
No bat boys. They said you have to get your own bat. That was another thing. So you're just and this is what I got this Dan Patrick show this morning was talking about.
Where is this list? I'd like to see this.
I haven't actually tried to look for it.
Come on, Google fingers. I want to see. I want to see this.
I'm gonna find it
because baseball has so much of that stuff.
They said you got to get your own bat.
I mean, but baseball is full of that. I mean, think about how much stuff baseball has that happens all the time. Think about the exchange, too, from every single time. And now what we're doing now is doing the things that people are freaking out about that really, overall, it's not the end of the world. But think about how many times the pitcher and catcher throw back and forth that baseball and then go to their mouth. Just saying, there's a lot of those that I'm frankly not worried about. They're going to be okay. But from the days of, remember, hand sanitizing, I had that burn, that severe burn right there from doing the leaves, which I realize now that I probably shouldn't have. Oh, there's Adrian right there. He's here.
Oh, awesome.
Well, that's why he was. Look, I didn't even know that. I would have gone to break.
Well, it's perfect time.
Well, there we go.
We'll
Let's
talk
go
about
to break.
this after.
All right,
then.
perfect.
Yeah.
Just that's why that was the confrontation. All right. When we come back, Adrian Stills will join us here from Osceola. We're looking forward to talking to Adrian every Thursday on the show and talking some golf. It's going to be fun after Brooks Koepka not playing, but everybody else is, so it should be pretty cool. And when Bryson DeChambeau is trying to drive 430-yard par fours, you start to get looked at.
Phil Mickelson just jumped in, by the way, is tied for 5th. I just want to make that clear. I don't know.
Looking good right now. They all have to.
Hope he wins.
They're after the Canadian right now. It's all about Hughes right now. We're coming back for more.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Want to be a fly on the wall at Nat Geo's headquarters? Well, with the Overheard podcast, you can. From smuggled dinosaur bones to man-made glaciers, each episode takes a dive into the curious conversations that occur behind the scenes at National Geographic. Overheard is presented by Geico. Millions of ESPN sports fans count on Geico for reliable car insurance and low, low rates. Visit geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Florida. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The year was 1919. Barbasol shaving cream was invented by a dreamer named Frank Shields. The world's first modern shave cream, Barbasol changed the face of shaving forever. A few billion shaves later, Frank's dream lives on. Behind every face is a dream. Barbasol proudly salutes every fearless, self-assured, wide-eyed dreamer all across America. Celebrating 100 years. Barbasol.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Yeah, I'd rather be a lover than a fighter. Cause all my life I've been fighting. Never felt a feeling of comfort. All this time I've been hiding.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Well, it's not Sean Paul, but he's still joining us here as well. Adrian Stills, kind enough to make time for us from Osceola Golf Course right there. Head pro down there and a former PGA member, a guy that has been just a great friend and somebody that look up to a lot in this business and having a chance to talk to all the time. and it's Thursday. So after that sucking up, we can now talk. And Adrian, what's happening, my friend? What's going on?
Hey, Chad, everything's great.
Yeah.
We
once you survive the booby trap over there, if you get through that, you'll be okay.
A little maze. I've always been really fascinated by twisted wires. I tend to want to play with them, but at any rate, no, everything's going well. We've got some afternoon showers. Golf course is looking great. The transition of aerating greens and all of that stuff is we've gone through that very well. So, being very busy and looking forward to a good summer.
Adrian, when it comes down to the weather, at what point do you have to make the decision on things? Because I'm not going to lie, we played at a course called Spessard Holland Golf Course. It was actually an Arnold Palmer design, which Arnold has done a lot of great things, but I don't think he wanted his name with this course based on. It was in over in Melbourne Beach, Florida. But I remember playing it, and it was between a barrier island. It was on a barrier island, but it was between the river and the ocean.
Right.
So sometimes you get those crosswinds.
Sure.
And if you had like a 120-yard shot, that thing could swirl and come right back to your feet. But
here lies the challenge.
But I remember with that course growing up is when you have that much water, you can see storms coming from the coast like you can off Pensacola Beach and everything. And we're sitting there watching these huge storms coming in, and I'm not one that messes with lightning. I saw somebody when I was younger on the beach, just a horrible tragedy, and with lightning in the water. And from that day on, I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Not to say that you should, but
right.
I remember waiting, and my brother was the opposite of me, and he's like, we got this. We're going to go play the course.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing lightning bolts right off the course, and then the alarm goes off.
Oh, wow.
By this time, we're on number 16, which is a good mile and a half, 2 miles from driving back to the main pro shop right there.
Right.
So I remember hunkering down underneath what it was like a shed that didn't even have like the underlying, no refreshments, nothing.
No lightning rod, no nothing.
But when do you have to make that decision ultimately? Because it
falls
on you. I mean, as the person.
It does. Most golf courses.
Just put it all on you. Look at that.
Well, today the technology's gotten a lot better. Most golf courses have the lightning indicators out there, and they're set up for 3 to 5 miles. Any lightning that occurs, it'll track it. And at that point in time, the sirens go off. And I worked in a lot of places in Orlando, and I even worked for the Robert Trent Jones Trail for a year up in Montgomery. You have no choice. The siren goes off. You mark your ball. You pick it up. You proceed to shelter, or you come in. We try not to give people the option, but of course everybody feels like they're bulletproof, and they tend to want to keep playing. But it's no laughing matter. It's really bad in Central Florida, and now it's starting to get bad up here. So I highly suggest that the first sign of lightning, even if you're at a course that doesn't have the lightning indicator, go ahead and truck it in. We've got too many really good days here in Pensacola than going out there and trying to see if the saying is true. Even God can't hit a 1-iron.
I sure can't. My dad has one of those hooded swings. If he's out there listening, he knows. But he thought it was like a puff his chest moment because he would hold his club like this. Now, what would make his pitching wedge look like a 4-iron because of the way he held his club.
Right.
And we'd be on the tee, and he'd always be the first. He didn't care where it went. It might hit a house.
Yeah.
But he'd say, what do you got?
Yeah.
And it's like 160. I'm like, well, I got an 8-iron. I think I got this 8-iron here. And he's like, pitching wedge. And I'm like, you know what, Dad? If you're bragging because you're about to skull it and the ball's going to be flying at you like a dart. And I said, but if there was any bunkers, he could never get out. But overall, when it comes down to golf right now, we know with Brooks Koepka is one of the guys that he's out of the Travelers this week after his caddy test positive. Now, Brooks is not going to be one of these guys you're going to get a CNN or a Fox News report. He's going to be like, not going to play, capiche, I'm going home. And we need more of that today. Yeah. But Brooks is also a guy that is one of the polarizing figures on tour. So for him not to play is a big deal. What did you think of when you saw it? Because I think personally it set a great sign for sports because it showed that everybody else can go out and play.
Right.
But if you're testing positive or somebody around you, do the right thing and back out.
Sure. And it's easier for golfers, but that does say a lot for golf in particular. It's a big part of the game is the integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And the thing about it is these guys are all independent contractors. Granted the superstars are getting the endorsement checks and those kind of things, but still, I mean, if they pull out of a golf tournament, that's a hit to their possible income. So for them to do that. says a lot about the players, says a lot about the game of golf and the guys that play the game.
Speaking with Adrian Stills, head pro at Osceola Golf Course. Adrian, right now we're into the thick of summer. I think the weather in our car is telling us that. You wouldn't try to milk that AC. The days of rolling down the windows don't count, especially got the rainstorms coming through. But when you look right now at what's going on locally with the kids, how has it been going, and what are the things, some of the opportunities for some of the kids? Because at this point, the parents, don't lie out there, no matter what parent you are. A few minutes with the kids outside the house isn't a bad thing. So even if you're not an avid golfer, it's the best year. 2020 is the year that your kid should probably learn how to play golf. I'm saying, and I'm advocating that golf is always a great sport. But, Adrian, how's everything going with some of the stuff coming up?
Well, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it was deemed early in the stages of the pandemic that golf would be one of those activities that they suggested everybody keep doing. You know, you can take a foursome and they'll tee off together the number one tee, and they may not see each other until they get to 18 because everybody's hitting it everywhere. But you're outdoors, you got the air circulating. So the business has been very, very good. We've been very busy. So with that being said, we're going ahead. We just had the City Junior Championship at Osceola a week and a half or so ago, and then we've got the Divot Derby coming up here pretty soon, and that tournament's got like a 50-60 year history. Pensacola's had the Jerry Pates and the Joe Durants and Bubba and Boo and Heath Slocum, and a lot of good winners of that particular event that have gone on to do great things with golf. So all of those events are going forward, coming up here in the next month and a half. You can always go to the playpensacola.com website and check out what's going golf-wise for us at Osceola. And then the firsttee.org, click on the Northwest Florida chapter. They run all of the now GPJGA events and the Divot Derby, and they've got a full slate of tournaments, and they've had a great turnout for the first couple of events going forward here. We look forward to seeing a really good summer and a lot of activities for kids to participate in.
Adrian, I know your son Joey and the folks over there that have been under Coach Fell and the folks at UWF, they've had an incredible a team for a long time, and he's a good man too.
Yes, he
But
is.
when it comes down to a lot of golfers in the United States, a lot of times you're seeing other guys coming over from other countries. When you see the game in Europe today, it's been no shocker if you follow the game in Ryder Cups and what's happening that they've been able to get the best of us lately. And I know that's with Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, some of our biggest names are starting to fade, where some of the biggest names in the world now are the Rorys, are guys that are from
John
overseas.
Rahm,
But what do you think's the biggest difference between the European game and the game in the States? Is there? I know a lot of these guys learn from academies and guys in the States, but what is there a big difference that you see in the game or the culture of how they play?
You know, I had that. It's our older guy. His name is Lee Jansen, good friend of mine.
I know Lee.
You do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in 1998, he was one of the first guys on those old PGA Tour games.
Right.
Him and Brad Faxon and Jim Furyk on the old, and I always use him at the TP. It was all the TPC courses.
Yeah.
So we'd go to Avondale and all those, and
right.
and Lee was great, man. He always wear the wristband.
Yeah.
I know Lee.
He's
I know him from a video game. You personally know him. I'm like, I know the guy, but yeah.
But I mean, he's played on several Ryder Cup teams and 2 US Opens, TPC, several PGA Tour events, Champions Tour. But I mean, we've talked about that. The mindset, the Europeans are always going to have that underdog kind of mentality, and they work better as a team. Where we've got, not to say that we do. We have more. Our field is deeper as far as the number of good players that we have. They've got superstars over there, but they've also have guys that are hungry, that really get up for the Ryder Cup experience. And I think that bodes well for them. That allows them to get themselves together as a team. And the couple times where Paul Azinger, who I know real well, has done a great job in getting guys in pods and getting people to kind of mesh together. The more I think that we do that, the better we'll perform at the Ryder Cup. And that's the key factor. It's not a talent thing. It's, if you're jazzed up for something, you're going to bring it, and they bring it. They bring it every time we tee it up against them. They flat bring it. Sevy turned that around years ago, and we're still playing a little bit of catch up on that.
Well, when we come back, we'll get to more local talk here with Adrian Stills at Osceola Golf Course. Each and every Thursday, we have a chance to talk with him and teed up right here from the pro himself. And looking forward to getting to more conversation about some of the local events happening, plus some of the local golfers that could be the next Boo Weekly, Bubba Watson, and more. I know Adrian has had a chance to work with a lot of them through a lot of the different camps and what's happening with the first tee, and it's going to be great to catch up because there's a lot of them out there, and we always have a lot of good pros when it comes to this area. We're coming back for more. It's a Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
Locally owned Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Tadalafil, the FDA-approved generic for Cialis, is now here, and the cost savings are huge. Save 80% on the 20-milligram tablets, 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy, 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola, and cash in on the savings today.
Welcome to Moe's!
Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the Moe's food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. You know, snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
O'Reilly.
Is your vehicle ready for the holiday road trip? O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you save on your oil change. Right now, get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic and a Wix filter for $33.99. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Guys, waking up over and over to pee is not okay. But now, you can reduce those nighttime bathroom trips with the ingredients in Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced. We're talking about less urges to pee at night, less bathroom trips during the day, and better bladder emptying.
It's like taking 3 prostate supplements in one.
You can try a full 30-day bottle of P3 Advanced, free. Just cover shipping and handling, and a free bottle will be conveniently shipped to your door. No strings attached and no commitments to buy. Call 1-800-491-4613. Super Beta Prostate is the best-selling brand in major retailers like Walmart. But for this no strings attached free bottle, you must call now. Call 1-800-491-4613. Agents are standing by to take your call for this unprecedented free offer. Call 1-800-491-4613. 1-800-491-4613.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The greatest name in sports radio is ESPN. Wherever you have Alexa, you can hear ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just say,
Alexa, enable ESPN Pensacola 1330 skill.
From quarterbacking the Pensacola High Tigers to being head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K. Stevenson knows the game. And he brings his expertise to talk football with Coach K. Weekday afternoons from noon to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I judge by what she's wearing, just how many heads I'm tearing off of vessels coming on to her. Each night seems like it's getting worse. And I wish she'd take the night off so I don't have to bite off every asshole coming on to her.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante. On the other side of our plexiglass is Adrian Stills right there. That's what we say. We used to say on the other side of the glass because I was actually sitting outside in the hallway, but Now we got the plexiglass there. So sometimes it's good for like a college football argument. You know, you get into one of those heated discussions, and we have a lot of these things that are plastic and stuff to throw at people, and sometimes I look at JP and I'm like, you know what? It just comes back. So it's a lot better now. But I won't throw anything at you. We've never gotten there in our friendship before. So on a golf course, it could be more dangerous than throwing other things. But when it comes down to it, we're speaking with Adrian Stills here, head pro at Osceola Golf Course. Talking a little local, national golf, and more. With everything going on in the world, the NBA talking about playing in the bubble coming up. The 4th of July, to me, is going to be a lot more than fireworks, Adrian, because it's sort of like you watch everything go off. You get the grand finale. My daughter loves the grand finale. And then we have all these things reopening, or at least we expect it. Right. Nobody knows the right answer right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes people that say we need to get sports back, you can't be labeled one way or the other. People think that you're just like, you don't care about humanity. Yeah. And then you have to stop and look at these people and go, that's not at all what I mean. All I'm saying is I think that there's ways to handle things responsibly. Sure. And then if something bad happens, where if they start the NFL season and 5 or 6 players get very seriously sick and they have to be put on ventilators, then we probably need to stop the season.
Yeah.
But if you start the season and a few guys test positive, asymptomatic, they didn't know, then what you need to do is you need to tell people that it's way more detrimental to stay away from that practice, to not be around them. Don't go home and talk to your grandparents. Yeah. Do the things that we should be doing anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
My mom and dad, I just got off a conversation with my mom and dad today, and they're in their 60s, and I don't call them old, and I know you're looking at me right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, the cyclist. I was going to say,
you
can throw something now, please. But so exactly. So when it comes down to making that decision, I told them though, I said, right now though, I would rather you guys not travel through all of these cities, because they'd have to travel through, stay at the hotels. And they said, we'll wait a couple more weeks and see, playing this day by day.
Yeah.
Golf is one of those, though, that has been a little easier to figure out. But golf also talked about getting people back in the crowds. What did you think of that announcement? And Bubba Watson came out today and said he was very impressed by the safety protocol the PGA has shown so far.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job, and they are taking all the precautions. They're tracking the guys. They're even charting jets for the players to keep them in the same bubble of people that are not infected. And it's working. I mean, you look at the number of players that are typically at a PGA Tour event, you'd probably be in summertime 144 players, and we've had like 3 so far that have had, or they're caddies, or 3 players total that have come up with some sort of the virus, but they're getting it right, and it's still going to be really strange seeing the Masters in October or November, where you've got weather's different and hardly any crowd and that stuff, and they can do what they can to kind of pipe sound in there. It's still going to be different down at Amen Corner, but they're trying to be responsible, and Chad, it's really interesting. I finally watched this past weekend at Heritage. I watched the entire telecast with hardly any crowd, and the first time I was watching, when they were at the Colonial, it was weird. And then, I really got into watching it coming down the stretch. It was still entertaining. So I think they're still going to have a really good product for marketing. I mean, for putting on television, for people to watch and be engaged. But again, we've got to be careful. Golf is a little bit different from all the other contact sports. It's going to allow us to be just that, careful and yet still entertaining. So that's great.
And that's the thing is the TV today. I mean, even doing this, we were able to do a TV radio simulcast, which it's rare for a market like Pensacola. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to work with great people every day. But at the same time, on this little board, we can hit angles people didn't even know existed. We wave over here. The thing is, people need to understand, though, that there are a lot of different things. There's lighting above us. There's other things that people don't see because nobody sees this big board that we have with the computer grid. When we used to do high school football games or TV games with WER and with Blab, and you go down there, they got the big trucks out there with their whole production companies.
Yeah.
Most people, until they actually work in the business, they don't know. They just see the end product.
Sure.
So golf is one of those sports, like baseball, watching games, yeah, if you showed a bunch of empty seats all day, it would get a little bit sort of depressing for the guys being like, those used to be my season tickets.
Right.
But when you show an angle where you're zooming in on them, you sort of blur out the back.
Right.
You have an angle where you show the dugout with a full team.
Right.
You go back to the pitcher.
Right.
Your fly balls, you keep it at a camera angle low where it doesn't show the whole crowd.
Right.
It makes it almost like you're watching a regular game.
Yeah, it's a good
and even soccer stadiums have started to put. Have you seen that? They put little areas of everybody out there. I think it's hilarious sometimes.
I do too.
How that happens,
Yeah,
but they're trying everything to make you feel comfortable. And golf, I think, has done an incredible job. And frankly, it's a sport that a lot of times we're focusing on the green, we're focusing on the tee box.
Sure.
Just one of those guys yelling in the hole. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Well, they can can that for sure.
Exactly. Adrian, we'll come back for another segment right here. It's Teed Up with Adrian Stills of Osceola Golf Course on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, we'll get back into more with Adrian Stills, head pro at Osceola Golf Course, on some local golf, national golf right now at the Travelers. Hughes taking it down after one round.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, and it's caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl. Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each every day on Blab TV. Chad Brillante on the other side of the glass. It is Adrian Stills. JP's still around here in the corner. He'll be coming back. But we have a two-person policy. We're following the rules, the guidelines right there. Like the commercial with Dr. Fauci. We're making sure. You got that, you got your mask there. Mine's in here somewhere, I know. I would be the guy that brings in a mask for protection and be like on the floor. That's the kind of person I am. Like if people are like,
my wife gets on me all the time, and I mean, if you wanted to get some information out of me, you can waterboard me or make me wear that. I'm sorry.
One of the best is Barstool Sports covers some of the fun ones of they get a little bit on one side where your parents might go, I don't want you watching that at 13, but at the same time they also have some really cool videos, and one of them was a guy, he was wearing his mask, and they said, welcome back to Vegas, and he was playing the slot machines, and he had his mask, and he was taking his mask down to smoke a cigarette and breathing it in and then dipping it back out, and then he put his mask back on and breathe it in, and then I'm sitting there going, yeah, okay, sir, you're really doing us all a service here, by the way. But some guy with a cutoff shirt and mullet, and he was sitting there, though. taken right out of a King of the Hill show. But it was hilarious though watching that, and I'm like, yep, that's what some people think they're doing their part by doing that. Congratulations, sir. You made it happen. But Adrian, when it comes down to golf, by the way, what is the funniest? You don't have to mention names or anything, but what's the funniest thing? Because you can go to the grocery store and see a lot of people. I've been yelled at with the arrows. You know the arrows now?
Oh man!
And I didn't even have the cart.
Yeah.
I just was trying to grab some Pringles real quick and get back.
Yeah.
And the lady was like, arrows, pointing, and I like froze like I was in Elsa, like a Frozen movie here. So you've had to see some funny things out in the golf course. Can you without mentioning any names? Is there anything that we can share here?
You know, it's funny. I'll see people come in and they'll say, "Oh, what kind of protocol you guys? What kind of provisions have you set in place?" And we're washing the carts 3 times. We're disinfecting the wheels every time we turn them around. We've got disinfecting things all over the pro shop and all over the clubhouse. And they'll come in and I say, well, ma'am, sir, you guys, you can take individual carts. And she goes, oh, no, we do things together all the time. I said, well, do you guys live in the same household? No, we're buddies. We're going to ride together. And I go, okay. Okay, don't mind us. Don't worry. That's perfectly fine. But it's a tough thing for everybody. Everybody's got to adjust and make provisions for staying safe, doing the right thing. And occasionally, you're just going to go back into that time warp and totally forget about what we've been going through for the last couple of months. And it's understandable. Just don't expect everybody to always be right on target for you. Just do your best and see what happens.
You think they're being easier? We were asking this question with a couple people that were watching the tournaments this week with the scores.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But do you feel like they're being easier right now on the pin location? Because I frankly think the pin locations, and look, when we say easy, good luck being still a guy from 198 to stick it to 4 feet. I mean, it's like the Barry Bonds steroid era when they're like, steroids is the reason that man hit 73 home runs. I'm like,
not exactly.
No, I could do it the rest of my life and look like one of those guys that you think is a fake catalog
right.
thing. And I'm not hitting the ball out of the park, so you have to have the skill set to do it. But I did feel a lot of the wind wasn't as bad this week at Hilton Head, but overall what we did see was I thought it was easier pin locations. It did look like that.
Well, actually, I don't know if the pins were that much different. From a standpoint of a golf course, we're used to watching Hilton Head the week after Augusta, and you're not into the transition of summer grass yet.
Okay.
So the grass is more. The Bermuda is waking up. My superintendent, Eddie Daigle, there's a shout out for you, Eddie. But when you have nighttime temperatures and the daytime temperature high and nighttime temperature low, you add them together and you got 150 degrees, grass turns green. And as it turns green, greens get softer, greens get slower, and then the guys are throwing darts. And that's what you had at Hilton Head. You didn't have the weather pattern of the wintertime fronts going through, the wind howling, and then you had soft greens. So you give those guys those opportunities where they don't have to worry about that ball getting away from them, and they go low. I mean, that's basically what happened. That's why Augusta's going to be so different. I can't imagine Amen Corner with the wind howling, because I went to school not too far from Augusta. It can get blistery.
Is this set on? Are they setting the date in August? I mean, not in August, November.
Yeah. It's
August. They're talking about doing the PGA to start.
Yeah.
And I know the Open Championship is not going to happen. I know enough about a nice check that was written over that for something that I don't think any human knew this existed. But you knew about the pandemic insurance and all?
No.
Did you? Okay. Well, I can tell it actually. I don't know why I'm being all like this is some FBI investigation. It's real. But my brother with the Golf Channel, when I asked him, he was like, "I'm going to stay away from this one because NBC had the rights to it, and he didn't want to say something because he can't speak on behalf of everything that they say."
Right.
But what happened was the Open Championship in Wimbledon, two sports that could have been played. It's already social distancing. They're not happening this year because in Europe there was something where I guess more of the doomsday prepper videos got to people, and there's something called pandemic insurance.
Really?
Now, they took out $2 million over the last 17 years. 17 years. That makes you a little scared. That's some weird stuff. That they're talking about going into the depths of some voodoo stuff going on in New Orleans. But so 17 years they spent $2 million. $34 million was taken out. Well, this year they had a deadline around the end of April, early May, where they had to say the tournament's off.
Right.
Or because they could have pushed it back like all the other ones.
Right.
And they knew that it could have happened that way, but they weren't going to get their check.
Really?
So they canceled it, and they got a $219 million check.
Wow.
So think
That'll keep the
about
lights
getting
on.
really those people. If your job was
Yeah.
Dr. Pandemic in
Yeah.
the Open Championship, you just almost made $180 million for the Open off of something that over 17 years people said we're literally just handing the bank $2 million because it has to be something of this magnitude.
You're kidding me.
Isn't that a crazy
That makes
story?
perfect sense.
That-
I
that-
never realized.
yeah.
I knew something was different because the RNA just said, "Hey, we're not doing it."
They're done.
Yeah.
But because they had to get the check. It's
Yeah.
like anything with insurance.
Yeah.
You can't, when you have a new business and it
Yeah.
burns or something, you can't say, well, let me keep Granny's little area over here, the
Yeah.
dining room set. Like, no, we're writing you a check. You have to get a new building.
Right.
We're coming in there to destroy
Right.
this.
Holy
Yeah.
moly.
Yep. It
Wow.
was, and same thing with Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Wimbledon's check wasn't as large as the Open Championship, but it was close. And Wimbledon, yeah, that's insane to think, though, because both those sports are
Yeah.
done individually,
Yeah.
where even if you didn't bring back the crowds,
Right.
you think they can get done.
Sure.
So
find it out.
that's it was when I saw that it's interesting and also scary that for 17 years without us knowing that there's been people writing checks for $2 million every year
Wow.
for pandemic insurance.
So, Chad, now
This is taking a twist.
Now that
This
you've
show's
just-
taking a full new turn.
Now that you've just go ahead and bust everybody's bubble and put that out there, I sure hope that was common knowledge.
I think if I didn't, I'm pretty. I mean, I will back this. I'll vouch for it. I know it's true stuff, but it's once again,
Yeah.
it's a lot of things like the news.
Yeah,
They don't want to. They
yeah,
don't want to scare the
sure.
bejesus out of people.
Yeah.
And remember, it was also in Europe.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
good
was
point.
one of these
Wow.
that. But that's. I think it is common. I think you can Google.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, I feel even better that I'm in on this
Yeah.
circle. I'm in that golden. The golden
your
circle of
ratings
trust or something.
Your ratings are getting
Look
ready
at
to go
this.
through the
All
roof
right,
right
look
there,
at that.
baby.
But or they're sending somebody from England to come get me. So if you see JP hosting next Thursday, I'd be like, yep.
And they
there was-
come and
Chad had his own
know Chad? I
pandemic.
go, Chad who?
Yeah. Did you get a check? What's that BBC and bank over there? No, I do have to say though, it's pretty funny though. Bryson DeChambeau, somebody Feinbaum caller of everything. A word of advice: we have Paul Feinbaum show, and I love college football season. If you're taking like regular day advice from Paul Feinbaum callers,
Right.
you'll be living in a trash can with raccoons in a couple months. So don't do it. But some guy was calling in. He was like, "Why are they not testing Bryson DeChambeau? Why are they not?" And they were going off on him. Yeah, JP was actually listening in, and I caught the end of it. But they're pretty much going after big golfers now that can hit the ball far.
Yeah.
And he hit the ball 400. He tried to drive the 418-yard par 4. You saw that story,
Right,
I'm sure.
sure. Yeah.
What do you think of even reading these? First off is the first thing to walk over there and be like, you trying to show us up over there like the old school? But the second part to it is that is insane to think about that.
Yeah, he's the mad scientist of the PGA Tour, no question about it. He's done the research and he figured out how to swing faster, get stronger, and keep the flexibility, which is amazing that he can do that. And then of course he's done all the golfing machine numbers, so it doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think he's done anything illegal, steroids or any of that. He's just that smart. And he's super engaged, and he made it happen. I actually played with a friend of mine, went to South Carolina State with, just got off the USGA advisory board, and they were talking about how far everybody's hitting the ball and what they wanted to try to do with it. And this is not common knowledge either. But what they're thinking,
we're just full of this. This show needs to be archived, right?
I know what they're thinking about doing, and
hit that red button and tape it, people.
They're thinking about making it harder to find the sweet spot because the new drivers are oversized, they're hotter, but not only that, you can hit it off center, and they've reduced the amount of side spin the way they have them designed, so you hit them straighter even when you miss them. They're thinking about, okay, what if we just keep it to where if they hit it dead center, they'll get the great effect, but they hit it a little bit off center, it's going to go squirrely on them, and get the tour players that might back the speed down a little bit to be able to get it in the sweet spot more consistently. So that's not the answer for DeChambeau, but I applaud the guy. I think he just took it to a different level, and just the two performances I've seen so far, he's playing good. He played good at Hilton Head, which is really a target golf course, and then this week up at Cromwell, I played that course too, and what is it, the Kraken? He's released the Kraken a couple times, but he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. He really is.
See, when I do that, my wife makes me sleep on the couch when I release the. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're talking golf still, so never mind. Never mind. Yeah, look, we love a little Mexican joint. I'm just kidding. When it comes down to talking about what's going on in the world of golf, everybody wants to. It's the one sport you can watch and then get excited and go out and play yourself. Mm-hmm. But Adrian, when it comes down to having a game plan in golf, I'd be probably the worst. I'd get one of those F ratings if you had like those Madden ratings.
Right.
Like, can I scramble? My whole life is like that. So, yes, I'm an A++ in scrambling. I can be in the woods below 3 trees.
Right.
And, having my 2 guys being like, okay, that is his ball over there. And I hit it through, and I'll knock it through and knock it to like a foot and end up getting a birdie.
Right.
But I've played that way. I mean, my whole life is sort of that way. Just fine. Exactly. I'm that guy. I'm the guy that lips it off the bunker, and I hit it and I scold it, and it hits the top of the bunker lip and lands like 2 feet from the hole.
Hey.
And, sometimes that happens. But when it comes down to golf, do you, as a teacher, do you always tell people that you should have a game plan for the hole ahead, and then if something happens, you might have to revert to some other way to get around it? Or, I mean, those 300-yard par 4s that you can drive it,
right,
but it would be a lot safer, and we all know in our head, to hit a 200-yard 5-iron and then hit a 100-yard approach shot and set yourself up than trying to drive over a bunch of woods that you're praying it lands on a little green compared to that lake, that house. We all, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, sure.
What would you say to those kind of golfers, and what approach should you feel like you should already know what you're doing stepping up to every tee?
Well, most of us, are we have common jobs. We're not practicing enough to be able to perform like the tour players. So I recommend to people all the time, know your limitations, play from the tees you're comfortable with. And then if you're on the range and you've got a 30-yard, 20-yard slice going, don't think you're going to change it out there on the golf course. You go ahead and play that and get yourself around, play to your strengths, not to your weaknesses. A lot of people want to hit it 320 yards off the tee. Then they've got a 20-yard, 25-yard sandwich off a hard pan to a soft green, or no pin placement or whatever, no green to work with. And then they proceed to make triple bogey. So it's not to their advantage score-wise to take a game plan that doesn't fit their playing ability. Go use what you have. When you finish your round, track what your shortcomings were, the slice, the 3-footers that you missed, your ability to hit a half wedge. Practice that, and then the next time you go out, you might be able to change your game plan.
Do you feel there's a correlation between playing with somebody that you enjoy playing with, or also playing with somebody you're trying to impress? There was this isn't a joke. I mean, well, who knows? It's in one of those men's fitness magazines that I read, and I give my wife's like, so you read the magazine? Are you going to the gym now? I'm like, well, I sort of did curls with it, tricep workouts. But when you look at golf, we know though that when you're at a gym, that always says if there's a lady or somebody you like that walks by, that you can do an extra 25 pounds on the bench or do things because your body is going to push yourself to that limitations that you probably wouldn't if you're just doing it by yourself. Right. We all know you go that everybody out there, those stories of the guy picking up the car because there's a sun underneath it. There is that in our bodies. It's instilled. Golf has that too. Yeah. There are times where we don't know how to answer it, but you're in that flow and you feel like you walk up and you're going to hit a 50-foot putt. Yeah. There's other days, every time you stand in front of that 3 or 4 foot putter, you're telling yourself this is not going in. Yeah. And then you hopefully get that guy and be like, pick it up. You're like, I've been watching you on the putting green. But Adrian, do you feel that when you play with people that you have a good time with, or you're trying to maybe show up or beat that guy that you know is a little better, that you play better yourself?
I do sometimes. I look for things to kind of psych myself up to play against those guys, or when I'm having, and that's what I did this past week. I was in Atlanta. I played TPC Sugarloaf, which is fantastic golf course.
You're like MJ from The Last Dance.
Yeah,
you
pretty
find
much.
Those stories.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
And I played with my college roommate and Greg Morrison, who just got off the USGA board, and we were all on the golf team together. We had not played together in 31 years. And of course, there was a lot of trash talking and a couple dollars on the line. And I made a 15-footer on the last hole for the cash, so it was awesome.
That's awesome. That's a good story right there. It's a good way to end it right there.
Yeah.
None of my golf stories end that way, but it's good to hear one like that. Adrian, we only got a little bit of time, so I do want to talk a little local golf as well. You guys, the city of Pensacola and Osceola Golf Course, do such a great job with the course. Tell the people out there that are really everybody's looking for something to do right now with the best way, because there are some thunderstorms in the area, but they might have a couple hours off, or they want to get the kids out of the house and do something fun coming up here for the weekend. What is the best way to make a tee time? What is the best way to get in touch with you? And also, what have been some of the best hours to play?
Well, you can always reach us calling the Pro Shop at 453-7599 to make a tee time. You can make that through the playpensacola.com website or Golf Now. We're on there too. So make tee times do that for us. And, with the afternoon thunder showers, especially when we really get into our pattern, they'll roll through like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's perfect at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Come out during that time. And then fortunately for us at Osceola, we have the best practice facility in the area. We have a mobile canopy that we can get 10, 15 people, 12 people under comfortably to hit golf balls. And if it's not lightning, it's just a little bit of a drizzle. And when you've got that 95-degree sun and humidity, it's 10 degrees cooler there. So come out and enjoy that. If you don't have the time to play 9 or 18 holes, you got time to hit a bucket of balls.
And also, I know earlier we were talking, but some of the local golfers, and we don't have to, we've gone through a lot of graduations lately, so nobody has to lie. We love seeing our kids graduate, but nobody likes to sit through 8,000 names being read. Yeah. It's just not fun. I don't think anybody's ever said I enjoy that. You might clap, but after about the 5th golf clap, you're like, okay, you know what? Can we all just drop their names from a balloon or something? Hey, everybody. But
get going.
Yeah, why not? But Adrian, if you look at some of the local golfers, who are a couple that maybe you've had a chance to work with the first tee or down at Osceola, are there a couple names that stand out?
Well, we've got some up-and-coming stars. We've got some really good players that are coming up. Jalen Abaz, who just won the City Junior Championship at Osceola. He's going into the 9th grade. I was trying to get him to go to Catholic High, but he's going to PHS. He's a smart kid. IB program. But he shot 66-72 from the white tees at age 14, which is really, really impressive. Mr. Burrows, Jeff's son.
Justin, right?
Justin.
Yeah.
Really talented player. And he's won district at our course last year, and Catholic High is looking good to go back to state this year. We've got a Gabby.
He made a hole-in-one on your par 4.
He made a hole-in-one on number 9.
He was on the show. We had him on there.
Is that right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, so we've got a lot of local talent that's really starting to blossom. And give credit to the foundation of the GPJGA and Hiram Cook starting that, and of course the first tee now with Marty Stanovich at the helm. We have a summer program that gets these kids engaged and playing, getting them psyched up to be able to get ready to play the summer tournaments, and then school starts in fall. Hopefully everything will continue as norm. These guys will be ready.
It's crazy making that transition. I never did myself, but I was pretty decent in high school, and trying to make to see some of the guys, because 2 of the guys on my golf team, we ended up winning districts at Melbourne Central Catholic, and we played against St. Thomas and a few of the schools, Panther Lake Golf Course in Orlando, beautiful course.
Oh yeah, I played it.
And I remember when we finished the tournament, though, a couple of those guys end up going pro, or going to, and when I say pro, they played in some pro tournaments down the road, but one of the guys went to Troy, and one of my other friends ended up actually going to San Diego State. I think he was using it as an excuse. He got a scholarship, and he was like, I'm heading out there. I don't think he really was even caring about golfing at that point. I've been out to the college, so I know.
Sure.
But overall, it was one of these moments where we were all about the same.
Right.
And I looked and I realized, when I played against some of the real good golfers that I knew in the area, Billy Horschel, some of those guys,
sure, yeah,
I knew that ultimately those guys had a career.
Right.
I was the guy that could shoot a 72, but I also could follow it with a 90,
right.
And I didn't want to go down that path knowing that I never was going to take it to the next level.
Right. Right.
And not to say I gave up, but I wanted to pursue other things.
Sure.
And when it came to that transition, you realize when you take the high school transition to college, it's a completely new ballpark. Yeah. You know, have you talked to your kids about that and enjoying some of those guys when it came down to
I have. Yeah, it's a different ball game. Once you get out of college and you decide to pursue the game professionally, you can bet everybody that's there waiting on you, you're going to play in your first mini tour event, you're going to qualify for the Open or something like that. They don't care about your credentials in college. They don't care one iota. The biggest transition that everybody has to make is that once you get to that level, everybody is just trying to beat the golf course, trying to get their game sharp enough, their skills honed enough to be able to break par, break 70, and those numbers do the talking. We don't care that you won a U.S. Amateur, that you won NCAAs and those kind of things. They just don't. And so you have to kind of look at it from that perspective, making the transition from an amateur to a professional. And, you know, the kids are really coming out a lot more polished. They're thinking more about beating the golf course, obviously, in college. As they get out of college, they're finding that, hey, my skill set is good enough to shoot the numbers necessary to make the transition to the next stage. So it's a change, but I am impressed with how quickly they're making the transition. The Korn Ferry Tour now, which used to be the Web.com Tour, there was a big transition from when I got my tour card going through the qualifying school, and then you got out to the tour. The guys now that get their card through the Korn Ferry Tour or Nike Tour or Web.com, they are already polished. They not only have the game and skill set, but mentally they're used to the travel and everything else. So they tend to go out there and make a difference a lot earlier and quicker, more consistent than the guys that got their tour cards through the school like I did.
And the final one ended on a positive, fun note. We're all better than him, I hope. But have you ever played golf with Charles Barkley or seen him on a tournament?
I hate to say this. I actually have played golf with him, and I gave him a golf lesson.
Oh, man.
I did. I
was hoping that he didn't take it, I hope.
Yeah, well, he actually, this was –
I mean, I hope he did take it, but clearly he didn't. Based on that.
This was many years ago. My son Justin was like 6 years old maybe. He had a fundraiser at they were just opening Planet Hollywood in Orlando. So he had the fundraiser and golf tournament at Grand Cypress where I worked. So he had all the celebrities out there, and they were playing. And Charles shot like 76 or something like that on the new course at Grand Cypress.
Really?
He had game. He had no hitch.
This wasn't 9 holes? You're sure?
No,
okay,
I know.
Okay,
he did not quit after 16. He actually played real well. And I think he just started trying so many different things. And, of course, at that time, he was probably 45 pounds lighter.
That's being kind, I think.
Yeah,
it changes you a little, yeah.
But, he was a character. He gave us tickets to the opening of Planet Hollywood, and he said, "You and Justin come down." So we get there, and he's at the top of the stairs, and he waves me through the crowd and puts Justin on his shoulders and walks him through. And Justin met all of these superstar NBA players, and Annika was there, and it was great. It was great, but he actually had game at one time.
Well, that's, I think that's what a lot of kids don't understand. Even with this basketball game, they see this guy and they're like, he's trying to run Dick Pavetta down on the court. He was my dad's favorite player.
Yeah.
He had that little, the mound, the rebounds.
Yeah.
Yep, mound, bound of rebounds.
Something like that.
round mound of rebounds, I think it was. But he was the man. And, a lot of people, they want to look at things in the now. They don't want to see everything. Yeah. Vince Carter retired today.
Wow,
22 years. He's the only player in the history of any sport, or actually not hockey. That's not true. But he's the only player in basketball history to play in 4 decades. He played in the 90s, the 2000s, 2010, and 2020.
Yeah,
now
he's still in such great shape. It's amazing.
And he was still a contributor, but it's crazy to think because people, if you're a kid in your 20s, you only saw the guy that played for the Hawks and some others. When he was out there dunking over a 7'3" Frenchman,
he
jumped over a 7'3" guy and dunked the ball and averaged 25 a game for the Raptors, won Rookie of the Year, North Carolina. People need to respect. I hope in history, no matter what it is, people respect the whole. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And I always tell some of the greatest players, you can look at one way in their careers, but we don't want to know Jerry Rice on the Seattle Seahawks. We don't want to look at the way we look at Hakeem Olajuwon and the Toronto Raptors.
Right.
I don't want to see that. I want to see the original, the dream shake in Houston.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that I think is, and golf is like that too. As some of the guys get older, they might not be the same golfer, but the younger, the Tiger Woods, people don't understand. I do believe Jack Nicklaus was the kind of guy that, and I Chi Rodriguez you last week, so I'm not going to put it close. We're not going down this. No, I know you might know Gary, his son, better, but when it comes down to a guy like Jack, we do need to understand though that in my heart, I think Jack has the records with the majors, but there's never been a golfer that was more dominant than Tiger Woods when he was in that zone.
Yeah, no one comes to mind. I mean, Jack obviously would be the next choice on that, but when you look at the numbers, nobody did it that way. And it is an amazing feat what he accomplished, and I don't think he's finished.
No. I think the closest thing we've seen was Henrik Stenson when he was out there. Him and Phil had sort of taken over the Open.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last time that we saw anything even close to when Tiger Woods did it 3 times. And when he did the Tiger Slam, but he was winning tournaments by 10 to 13 shots, and 13 shots over second place.
And that just doesn't happen.
No, it's not supposed to happen.
No, it just doesn't happen. I mean, he had the total package, and not only that, I think the guys were a little bit intimidated. And now the intimidation factor's gone away a little bit. It's starting to, they still have the respect for him when he's healthy. So it could be a very, very interesting year if we get a chance to see him get back in full swing.
Yeah. And I know he misses his dad every day with Earl, but Earl being by him, there's a big reason. Sometimes, Michael Jordan, I think, said it best when he said, I wasn't there to be your friend.
Right.
I was there to push people to a level because I knew how great that you guys could be or how good. And Earl didn't always do it where people might look and say that he allowed Tiger to go out partying with his friends and doing that. But guess what? He saw in Tiger every single day what other people maybe never got to see until he got to the course.
Yeah.
And with that and Earl pushing him, and having kids around golf and things, but the way he wasn't the same golfer ever after Earl passed. I know that.
No, I don't. He had some mentorship from some good guys. He and Mark O'Meara. I only played with him once. It was right after his first Masters victory, but he had some good mentor people in place for him, and what he learned prior to his dad, Steph, and with those guys in the fold, I think it helped a lot. And he really brought it, and hopefully again, like I said, I hope we can see a good finish in the season coming up here.
Well, we're not doing handshakes, but we'll do one of these through the glass right there. As always, Adrian, it was awesome to have you on. Looking forward to next Thursday. Adrian Stills, Osceola Golf Course, joining us here. Tee it up every single Thursday with us. Any questions, too, we'll start opening up the phone lines. If you're just asking for tips to shave points, or if you can get if he can count you in the next tournament as a sandbagger for like 5 or 6 other on your handicap, we're not buying these questions. But any real questions for the course, we will have a chance to answer and have fun with. And looking forward, Adrian, as
Sounds
always.
Good. Thanks,
we're coming back for more. It's the Sports Drive on ESPN and Blab TV.
Ever wonder how long it takes for litter to decompose? How about a paper towel or newspaper? 2 to 6 weeks. A cigarette butt? 1 to 5 years. That plastic bag? 10 to 20. A disposable diaper or plastic beverage bottle? A whopping 450 years. And for a glass bottle? 1,000,000 years. Let's stop litter madness. Join the team and let's drive it home. Keep our paradise litter-free.
Brought to you by Florida Department of Transportation and Keep Santa Rosa Beautiful.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, seafood lovers, Shannon's Seafood Kitchen is open with dining inside and outside as well as touchless curbside pickup. The best catfish this side of the Mississippi, homemade gumbo, jumbo fried shrimp, hand-rolled Filipino-style lumpia, po' boys piled high with fresh seafood, coastal fried flounder, and fresh mullet every day. They continue to take precautions for your safety whether you dine in or take out. Open Tuesday through Saturday at 11, 7000 Pine Forest Road, or call 941-1982. Shannon's Seafood Kitchen.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
Walking outside your house just to get cool shouldn't be your choice to avoid the cost of AC repairs. Getting your AC repaired right the first time at a price that is so much lower than the others is the reason why you should call the locally owned Top Tier Air Conditioning and Heating. There is no service call fee with any AC repair, plus no extra charge for weekends or after hours calls. So don't sweat it. Call Top Tier. It's your home's most expensive appliance. Call the certified experts at Top Tier Air Conditioning and Heating. 208-2544.
Sí, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Dan gets so mad that there isn't one dissenting voice.
It's not even that much of a risk, Mike. It's a 6.
Stugotz does that all the time. He doesn't get any credit for it.
No, but no one with credibility dares risk it because they all just want to put stars up next to their name and pick the most obvious possible thing.
Thanks, Dan.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, 9 till noon, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
This ain't a song for the broken-hearted.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I did see Adrian look over at this, and quickly, the first thing I said, do like the in the air.
Yeah, I just had to do that on mine.
You had to do that too?
Yeah,
okay.
You had it up here, and it was ringing. I had to sacrifice and make sure I got the music down first. But
What'd you say?
Yeah.
My daddy put me in front of way too many speakers at rock and roll concerts as a kid. No, I just can't hear anything. But overall, it was it's always great catching up with Adrian. I know we went over time a little, so we'll get back on track here. Real quickly, when it comes down to Major League Baseball, cash it or smash it, they will be starting to show up July 4th. We're going to see them get back into action in late July, and everything's going to go as planned. Everything's on your shoulders now to answer this, like Dr. Fat. No?
Not everything's going to go as planned, but everything will be okay. They will have some hiccups. To say everything is going to go as planned means that nobody tests positive.
Well, hiccups are some of the
like
symptoms.
This.
So, are you talking? Okay, no.
Well, then I've had this virus for quite some time.
Yeah.
No, I think everything is going to be okay. I think they'll run into some hiccups along the way, but once again, I know people, the naysayers out there will say shut it down, but these leagues have prepared for this type of thing, so I think they're going to be okay. I am trusting, and I could be completely wrong, and if I am, but I am trusting that the leagues are having precautions in place that, barring something unforeseen that happens, everything's going to be okay. Now, with that being said, it is important that these players take the precautions as well. Just because we talk about it, going back to LSU, 30 players test positive, they link them back to a bar and a club. At some point, you do have to follow the rules yourself if you want this to happen. So I'm not going to put it all in the league, but I will say, as long as everybody follows the rules, we're going to be okay.
Have we ever thought about the people that might have been away like for a long time, like one of those movies like Wilson with Tom Hanks, and came back and was like, some ladies like 30 players at LSU test positive, and she's like, ooh, I better call my girlfriend on this one. Like, and they have no clue what's actually happening with what's going on with COVID right now. Is there one or two people out there in this world that just see these reports and maybe personally are freaking out a little when they hear things like that?
I don't know what direction you're going in.
It's not one that we want to get into much.
No,
but,
I don't think
overall,
so.
But overall, I'm just saying, it might scare the bejesus out of her. Ooh, I better call her. She needs to know about. All right, looking at the this is terrible. All right, let's get to what's going on right now with Liverpool ends a 30-year wait to win the league title. How about that? Premier League, 30-year wait. 30 years they've been waiting, and they've ended it as they were able to get the victory. And look at that right there. After the 2-1 loss, Manchester City losing to Chelsea today, 2-1, and Liverpool now is the crowned champions.
Yep, there you go.
Big time right there. That's how we'll go to break. We're coming back for more Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at Nemea. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. So the choices you do make right now, they are, it's important. Obviously, Florida opened things up, and a lot of people are okay, and they're still going out. And, you know, I was okay with it. I still am okay. But it also, the actions that you choose will cause the reactions of right now. There's a lot more people in quarantine, a lot more people that are getting the coronavirus. Well, Grand Canyon is a school that actually Amanda down here that worked with us, awesome. She went to Grand Canyon. We always joke, but it's an awesome school. I've been down there through the desert. Dan Marley, Thunder Dan, coaches their basketball team, and it's a school that likes to party. I mean, but it's an awesome campus, but it's a really cool campus and how it's set up.
It's a Christian campus. Careful what you say.
Okay, I went to a Catholic school. If I just said that, and then if you reference that I went to a Catholic school, Or if you go to Catholic high school around
what
here,
I'm saying is you're going to ruin this for some kid that's accepted.
Oh no, I'm not ruining anything.
No,
I'll
accepted to Grand Canyon, and then his parents think it's this nice Christian school.
Okay.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe they get to visit the Grand Canyon with their parents and think it's real cool. But take them on that trip with the donkey. They always wanted. But here it is. Just like George Costanza's dad, I'm going to stop short. And I'm going to tell you right now that Grand Canyon's entire team is right now in the quarantine. So
shocker.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what the whole point of this was. Like, let's not be shocked if you see one of those schools. Arizona State cheerleading squad is on
their basketball
quarantine.
team, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, they better hurry up because they only got like 5 months. All right, before they got to be ready.
The whole entire basketball team is out there.
How are they going to make it back?
Listen,
they've only got 5 months.
But
5 months.
So someone's like, oh, shocker, how did they get? Well, they've probably been out partying and taking some keg stands every night. And that handle, you shouldn't. It's not 6 feet away. When it comes down to John Swafford, I'm going to say it like that. John Swafford. No, John Swafford was the ACC commissioner, the longest tenured commissioner. Let's give it up. I know you want to give it up for a little golf. No, I'll let you take the stage on this one.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
It takes a guy that's willing to make bold statements that steps above and beyond. That's just my personal. I want to make that clear, but he's always been a guy to me that's kind of just like laid in the weeds and waited for other people to make decisions. And he's like, "All right, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That with what he said. Yeah, but he said it first. He said it, so don't get mad at me. But he said it. Yeah, him. All right, yeah, that's what we're doing." That's just the way I look at it. Look, I think to be a commissioner, it takes some cojones. I mean, big time. You got to be under the understanding that, listen, the majority of things that I say, a lot of people will obviously go against. And look, Greg Sankey's done a lot of things that people are like, but like I go to this whole thing with Greg Sankey with the Confederate flag in Mississippi. You know, he basically come out and he's bold enough that he understands that there's a lot of people down here in the South that will disagree with him. There's people that will agree with him, but he said he doesn't care. He's like, look, we're not going to have any events or championship events or anything like that in the state of Mississippi moving forward. All right, until you change it. So figure it out. Okay. I just think that's a step out there that a lot of people were like, whoa, where'd that come from, bro? What the heck's going on?
There couldn't have been a better triangle of change in the state of Mississippi to have Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach, and Greg Sankey at this time.
An interesting. First off, remember Mike Leach early on, and
yeah,
just the things that he said. I want to be a fly on the wall with Mike Leach sitting in there. I want to hear what he's got to say. Just Lane Kiffin sitting here, boom, 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 boom. Mike Leach is like, well, look, the Vikings back in the day. Let me just tell you about them, okay? They were interesting people. And it's like, Mike, we're talking about the Confederate flag. Yeah, but the Vikings. It's just this leads up to it. Okay, I'm working my way through. No, I can't imagine. But once again, going back to the ACC, that's just my opinion of him. He's always been a guy that's kind of laid back and made decisions, and I think that's the reason why he's been there as long as he has. So it is what it is.
I'm just imagining though, like Jackie Sherrill and some of the guys back in the day, it would have been a completely different world we're in. But we got to understand though that it's the players right now with what's going on, especially with the Confederate flag, and to be real with football, this is a football conversation. Be different in lacrosse or another sport. Women's golf, men's tennis could be completely different. But the football team is made up of, on average, in Power 5 schools, is made up of 81% black athletes. So 81% of the people, for the most of them, are going to say, they're going to be okay with somebody standing up and saying, we want change with the Confederate flag. Not every one of them. There's some black players that actually have the remember, Larry Tunsil was taking one of those Agent Orange-looking hits that went viral during the whole entire situation, and he was sitting behind the Confederate flag. So remember, not everybody is under the same impression. It's how you're raised. Maybe he's not the one that put it there. Who knows? That whole video needs to go. None of that video is good for him at all. Nothing with that video is good. Looked like one of those Eli Roth movies. But I will say, the one thing we do have to understand is that with the change, most of the players, the ones like Greg Sankey that stand up, the players are going to be more in tune to get back on the field and want to fight for you. Because there is going to be some drawback. There are going to be people, and it's okay. We came from more of the, we didn't grow up in any type of OCD or any of that kind of stuff. Most of us, well, you're closer than I am for sure. I mean, you know how I live, but nobody is, for the most part, that we talk to on an everyday basis. We're okay knowing what it is and saying, I might get it, but I understand the consequences. I'm not going to put anybody in jeopardy, that kind of stuff. There are still some people, and it's okay if you're that person that's like, get away from me. I don't talk to me through the glass, this kind of thing. And that's okay too. But the players there's going to be some players like that too that are going to need a pick-me-up. And it's good to see Greg's there for it. Greg's there for that pick-me-up.
I do have the MLB rules.
Yes, let's get to that. Yeah.
Before Adrian got here. Okay, I'm going to go through these because I know we have limited time here, obviously, but there will be no bat boys or bat girls or ball boys or ball girls. This is my year, too. Not going to happen. Hitters will have to bring their own equipment, which is pine tar, rags, donuts, all that stuff with them, to and from the on-deck circle. Pitchers will have to bring their own rosin back to the mound and use their own personal baseballs for bullpen sessions. Hitters and runners left on base will have to get their own equipment from the dugout when the inning ends. In all caps, and this is from the MLB, this is sent to the players and everything, in all caps, no more spitting. Spitting is prohibited, including sunflower seeds and shells. Smokeless tobacco is also prohibited, which it's been anyway, but not that anybody's followed that rule. While chewing gum will be allowed, players licking their fingers is now prohibited. Pitchers can carry a wet rag in their pocket to moisten their fingers. Boy, this is going to bring up a lot of people cheating. I can already tell. When people putting stuff on their neck, you think they can put it in their back pocket. Anyway, to get through this, batting practice balls can only be used that day and will have to be cleaned and sanitized after use. They'd be wet and heavy. They cannot be reused for 5 days. All right, whatever. Anyway, fighting and instigating is a big no-no and will be met with a severe discipline. That's where I was talking about. Basically, they're saying that if you do that, go ahead and kiss a third of your season away immediately, regardless, because that's how serious they're taking this.
Really?
Yes. High fives.
For what? For fighting or for beaning?
Fighting or anything that's causing physical contact with players outside of making tags or any other incidental contact.
The Astros are partying tonight. You know that?
High fives, fist bumps, and hugs are all prohibited, so no more elaborate high five celebrations come the playoffs. Showering at the ballpark is discouraged, but not prohibited.
But who's gonna be in some of this stuff? This is that last one is like horse speed limits in Indiana. Now it is a law, but I'd love to see that cop pulling over that old man on that horse. Just got a couple apples, got groceries. Like you see Gene Stallings coming back to the ranch on his horse, and some cop cuts in front of him.
Can we get a watercolor of that? Like a watercolor painting of Gene Stallings coming back
I could
on a
ask
horse?
him for that. He would answer that to me. He would be confused, but it would be a usual show if I asked him for that. That'd be
awesome.
Remember, I asked him how to get rid of the moles this week in my yard. But I have to say, with all of what you're saying right now, there's about, I would say, 20% of that is actually going to be completely governed. Some of it, now if you're spitting all over, if you're like, hey, base hit, like the umpire's like, come on, man. But if you're in right field, it's going to get colder because we're getting close to that, and you get your hands up there and you like that, they're not going to, time out.
But I hope a camera's not on you.
Get them out. Oh, they better get rid of like the Angel Hernandez type umps, because he will. He'll be looking over, tossing the guy, and like, what just happened? What happened?
He spit.
There's a little bit of, I believe he has some dip.
I sneezed.
Guy's going like this.
Doesn't matter.
He's got a canker sore. It goes like that. He's like, get him out of here.
Yep.
They inspect him. They make him open his mouth.
They bring a doctor out there.
Get Dr. Fauci. He gets carted in. They wave him in. They make like a whole thing of this. That's what I'm saying. This is ridiculous.
It's gonna be fun.
Bat boys and bat girls, that's just gonna delay the game, man. Ball's gonna they serve a purpose.
They need jobs too.
No. I think you could actually have like a pit like in the bowling alleys that sucks the ball in and then spits it back out. That'd be a very expensive electronic machine to do. It would work though. It goes to the side. It just funnels in on the side out of there.
I'd be pissed about having to get my own equipment from the dugout when the inning ends. Think about it. You're out there, you busted.
They always toss the gloves over and stuff.
Yeah,
I know.
You can't do it anymore.
No more of those, the zoom-ins when the guy does like the 15, where he overdoes like taking off the batting gloves, and he knows he just struck out with the bases loaded. He tosses the helmet that spins, and they hand him the guard. No more of that.
I'm telling you right now, just as a pitcher, licking my fingers was always something. Just I not even thought about it. I just did it all the time for players. I know people say, well, that is such a small. No, if you're a pitcher, you understand.
They're not gonna. They're not.
It's gonna happen. These guys are going to do it, and they're gonna be like, oh, sorry, like they just robbed a store.
This is just to let people know, but they're not going to do anything about that. To a point.
We need Greg Litton on.
If you doing one of these, get him out of here. If you look like Kiss,
please don't do that. I can't even make eye contact with you if you just did that.
There's a difference, but we'll go to break.
Yeah, let's go to break.
None of this.
No, I'm still not making
Sports
eye contact.
Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Okay, here's the thing about yellow snow. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Learn how to drive, you moron!
Remember, you're always teaching. Teach carefully. React with rage, and kids will learn it's okay to do the same. Keep your cool, and kids will do likewise. For advice, visit actagainstviolence.org. Brought to you by MetLife Foundation, National Association for the Education of Young Children, and the Ad Council.
From First Take to your radio.
The reality is that you don't have a license to do this. Certainly was in violation of the bylaws of NASCAR, and we all know that what their position is at this particular moment in time. The reality that things are simply not going to be tolerated any longer. And if you find out who did something, you deal with them with the full muscle and extent of the law.
1 till 2, weekday afternoons on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
No part of that conversation, whatever you're going with that. No.
Guy cut that guy off in that commercial right there.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Let's go to what's going on right now with the news. Did you hear this, by the way? Did you see that Vince Carter retired? 22 years.
Thought he already retired.
His game is retired in a way, but he's still out there.
Still the champ, though.
He's the only player in NBA history that played in 4 decades. It sounds ridiculous, but
it does sound ridiculous.
He played in 1998, and then he also retired in 2020. So he's really, he's on the edge on both of them. But 22 years, 4 decades. It sounds cooler that way. Overall, though, Hall of Fame game. Shedding any tears? Not going to be played?
No, it's like the Pro Bowl. I could care less, personally.
Great way. Full hockey Hall of Fame breakdown right now. 0.5 seconds. You ready?
Yep.
Do it tomorrow.
All right.
All right. Thank you for joining us here today. As had some fun as all. I'm ready for some of this peppermint lotion. Thank you, Tasca, for this. That's all the time we have for today's show. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless.
Sweetheart and spin out with him, do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Gonna throw down, take a sip with it and lean back, put your hips in it. Let's have some fun. To the left now. To the right. Now take your left hand and put it on your side. Gonna roll your shoulders, do the slip and slide. This next part's my favorite part, 'cause it's time to shine. Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweet.
It's time for your Sports Drive updates here on ESPN Pensacola. Well, Liverpool, after 30 years of waiting, has finally won the Premier League title. One in a year that some people say, well, we're just not going to remember this year, so 30 more. Looking at the other conversation with NASCAR, NASCAR did reveal a pic of the noose in Bubba Wallace's carport right there, but also when they say concern is real, yes, he had the right to feel that way, but also that noose was there dating back to 2017, according to some reports, and 2019, according to the FBI investigation. So clearly, unless somebody had a time machine, it wasn't directly intended for Bubba Wallace, the one black driver that was at the race. Overall, though, still he had a reason for concern, and NASCAR talked about that today. NBA players talked about brief security details as they get set to go here, as they'll tip off their season in a month from now in Orlando. But the players today talked about the restart and what they would do at the Wide World of Sports complex coming up here for the season. The league was with a bunch of federal and also local law enforcement agencies talking about security panels and what they need to do as a team with their staff. Nothing like telling a bunch of 20-year-olds with a bunch of agents when they've done nothing wrong in the times we're in right now what they have to do. We'll see if that works. We'll see. Disney, Mickey, John Swafford retired as well. I know tomorrow on the show, big breakdown from his favorite buddy, JP.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Audio and the Undefeated proudly partner in The Intersection, where sports and social justice meet. Now alongside L. Duncan, here's Clinton Yates.
Happy Thursday, kiddos. You're listening to The Intersection on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and of course, Sirius XM Channel 80. The program is presented by Progressive Insurance, and all guests on the show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. You want to hit me on Twitter? At Clinton Yates. You want to see L. Duncan on Twitter? At L. Duncan ESPN. You know me from The Undefeated. Perhaps you see me on Around the Horn. I'm a columnist at the former. I run my mouth on the latter. I'm also on Now or Never, where I don't wear suits. You know L. Duncan from Sports Center. Perhaps you know her work from In General on ESPN Radio as well. How are you today, El?
Hi, what's up, Mr. Yates?
Nothing much. We're a month out from the murder of George Floyd. It's the anniversary, which is a weird word to say.
Sure.
We look back at some of the monumental shifts in sports and social conversation. You know, we're going to explain why this feels a little different. But off the top, El, what are your thoughts on what we'll just call the news peg of a month since George Floyd's passing?
Listen, we've seen a lot broad spectrum happen. We've seen sort of general reform happen with the banning of chokeholds in some of these major cities. We've seen public protests that are working. I think that's been my biggest takeaway, Clinton. You know, we've had a certain amount of protests over the course of the last, 3-4 years, and they seem to be one-off. And even my mom, talked about that during the civil rights movement, that there would sort of be these sporadic, sort of well-organized marches that would be planned here and there. We have consistently, for weeks now, seen people in the streets, and it's driving real, actual change. The charges were upgraded against Derek Chauvin. The other officers were charged because of public pressure. The FBI launched an investigation into the death of the Breonna Taylor because of public pressure. LA is reducing funding to their police department. So, I'm just seeing sort of this broad spectrum outside of just the sports realm of real measures and change